And good morning. I'm Damon here on Joppa Radio, 96.3 FM. And we have a guest with us this morning. We are talking with Newburyport School Superintendent Susan Vicaro. And Susan, thank you for joining us today.
I'm delighted to be here.
Nice to have you here. It's I apologize. All these years that you've been here, how many years have you been in Newburyport?
This would be year 5.
Year 5. Okay. Wow. And I haven't had you on the radio.
No, you have not.
Ouch. I apologize for that. That shouldn't be. But, hey, you're here now.
Better late than never.
And you'll be here. I think we booked you for every day for the next 3 weeks. Is that okay?
That's perfectly fine. Perfect.
Oh, terrific. All right. Well, one of the things we wanted to start you out with was you got the brand new school year going on, which it's always a busy time of year. And what's new this year for Newburyport schools?
Well, I think we had a great opening to the school year to start off with. Probably the smoothest that we've had in 5 years. Very few bus issues, which is always something that is near and dear to a superintendent's heart. That all seemed to go very, very smoothly. Staff seemed excited to be back. I think this year we're really focusing on our professional learning communities across the district, continuing to work with our strategic plan. We're focusing on our 6 Clipper values this year, which are respect, kindness, innovation, perseverance, responsibility, and reflection. And there's a focus in every school on holding staff and students accountable for all of those, and really looking to help students to practice those on a regular basis.
Well, that is hard to do, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. How do you teach people how to respect one another? Well, they see what happens on the news if they pay attention to the news. I'm sure watching the news is a part of the learning experience too, isn't it?
That certainly is part of the learning experience for students. I think that we try to model the Clipper values for students, and we try to provide opportunities to practice them on a regular basis. I know assemblies have been held in a number of schools where there's a real focus on a particular value for at least a week, and really trying to catch kids demonstrating the Clipper values.
Oh, that's something. That reminds me of the Benjamin Franklin model. Are you familiar with that? Where he had 13 virtues that he wanted to do, and he would practice one a week until he got to the 13th week, and then he would start over with week 1. I think the 13th virtue is to be humble. And every time he got through, he was always proud of himself, which meant he wasn't humble, and he had to start all over again. But that's how he did it. You just go around and around and around.
And these are something that we're focusing on all the time. Mm-hmm. So it's lifelong learning to be able to keep these and put them into practice all the time.
Talking about lifelong learning, we had Vicki Hendrickson on the other day. So she's with the Newburyport Adult Education and Lifelong Learning.
Vicki and I are in the same building, so we see each other on a regular basis, and I think it's fabulous that we start with students at the age of 3 in some cases in our preschool, and Vicki is at the other end of the spectrum in some cases with some of our adult learners. Mm-hmm. So it's lovely to have that kind of a continuum across the community.
Oh, it certainly is. We're talking with Susan Vicaro. She's the superintendent of schools in Newburyport. And somebody else that we recently had on was City Marshal Mark Murray, and he talked about the school resource officer, and that's very important.
That is very important. I'm very fortunate to have had a school resource officer in place since I've been here in Newburyport. It's something that the marshal and the mayor have put particular emphasis on, and I think that we benefit greatly from that. Our current school resource officer gets to know students from our youngest kids all the way up through high school, forms relationships with them, gives, I think, a different impression of who a police officer is than sometimes is what's shown on the news.
Oh, yeah. So. Oh, definitely. Is Zero the Hero still around?
Zero the Hero occasionally can make an appearance, but not on a regular basis anymore.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, Zero the Hero, when my daughter Taylor was in school, Zero the Hero would come in on the 100th day of school.
Yes. Yes.
With a cape and all that stuff.
Yes.
So that was fun.
That was fun. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
So, all right. So you're off and running. You got the brand new school year, and I see that coming up on Monday night, the City Council and the school committee are going to be filling a vacancy on the board.
Yes, they are. There are, I believe, 4 candidates that the City Council members and the school committee will be interviewing, and they'll make a selection of the 4 candidates who have put their name.
Yeah, you have to submit a letter of interest,
Correct.
so probably a resume too, and all that stuff.
Yes.
So, and then coming up on the general election, I think that if I have it memorized, there are 3 candidates for 2 seats. Is that how that works?
That's correct. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that! I amazed myself.
Yeah.
Oops! Now I have to take away being humble. I got to start all over again. All right. So we have that going on as well too. And we have high school football tonight here on Joppa Radio,
We do. It's very exciting.
Yeah, it certainly is, and you know the whole athletic program is exciting too. But sometimes there are parents who say, you know, the athletes get all the attention, but the academic people don't get that much attention. And I know that there are some wonderful academic clubs that go on after school too.
Newburyport is a very, very strong school system. Our academics, certainly, I would place against the other top schools across the Commonwealth. And we have students who excel in a variety of different areas. One of the things that we've been able to do in the 5 years that I've been here is really expand our STEM offerings across the district: science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And we have, in the last 5 years, we have put a full-time STEM teacher in at both Bresnahan and at Mullen, so that we now have a continuum across the district. We're very fortunate that we have the Newburyport Education Foundation, who has been very generously donating their time and actions and money into providing additional STEM resources for all of our students across the district. And their current campaign is focusing on STEM. So we're just so fortunate to have them to support our initiatives.
So what would some of those scientific programs be?
It's about inquiry by students. It's about them place-based education. It's about them experimenting on a regular basis. But there's nothing more exciting to me as an educator, as a school superintendent, than to walk in and see some of our youngest learners who are experimenting with, could be a variety of different things, and just the curiosity that they have and the excitement that they have around learning. It brings it alive.
Oh yeah, you want, especially the young kids. Those are the ones that are most impressionable.
We want to capture that excitement, because once we capture it at that level, it carries all the way through. And we want to create lifelong learners.
You mentioned the Newburyport Education Foundation, and there's going to be a little changeover there. Carla?
Yes, yes, we are. We're certainly sorry. Carla has been just wonderful. I know that they are interviewing for a new executive director, but we're going to miss Carla. Carla's been terrific, and she certainly has boosted the organization.
Yeah, she was there, a few years, wasn't she?
She's been there. I think she was there for a little over 2.
Okay. And, they always have the golf tournament and things like that to raise funds, and they do a lot of things there.
Have the music festival coming up. We have the auction in the fall. We have, we're going to be having a celebration for along with the Institution for Savings, who so generously donated to the Newburyport Education Foundation for all of our new facilities at the auditorium at the high school. We have new lighting, we have new sound, we have new rigging, we have a state-of-the-art theater program there now, and the Institution for Savings and NEF were instrumental in helping us to achieve that.
Yeah, I saw that's coming up like the 23rd or something like that.
I think it is the 26th.
26th, okay. Close enough. it'd be a waiting line for it to happen. But that's a lot of work has gone in to the facility up at the high school. I was there when they did the unveiled the new football field and that athletic field, which is great because it can take care of all different types of sports.
Correct. Yeah.
And it kind of consolidates people onto one area. And then I was there for the ribbon cutting. I think you were too, for the Richie Eaton baseball field.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So that was out really well.
We're very fortunate. We here in Newburyport, in that we have been able to, in addition to the renovation, the building of the new school, and all these new athletic facilities, it's been really wonderful to have been a part of all of that, and to have a community that so gets behind both athletics and our educational facilities.
Sometimes people say, well, where is this radio station, WJOP? Where is Joppa Radio? And I say, where the Bresnahan School used to be?
That's right. That's right.
We're right. I think we were in the third grade wing is where we stand right now.
Just about.
I think. And my wife worked for a few years in the district, and I remember she was one year she was in those temporary trailers that were around for like 30 years.
Yes. Yeah.
So those are gone, aren't they?
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
What happens to those anyway?
Well, sometimes they can be repurposed. Sometimes they can't. These could not be repurposed because they were just too old. Sometimes you actually can sell them to other school districts that are experiencing growth. I had that opportunity to do that in my previous position in Connecticut. We actually repurposed some portable classrooms, and then when we were done with them, we were able to sell them to another school district.
Nice. And the new Bresnahan School, that's working out really well?
Oh, it absolutely is. It is. I say that it's probably one of the prettiest elementary schools in the Commonwealth. It's just a beautiful facility. Everything is state of the art, and everything is just light and bright. It's a wonderful environment for learning.
So when the new Bresnahan School opened up, the Kelly School, it wasn't operating when you came here.
It was not.
Okay, but the Brown School was?
Brown School, yes. The Brown School, my first year here, the Brown School was still operating, yes. That's
got to be a lot of work to close down a school and to move the students. Although it's not a big city mileage-wise, it's a big move.
Mm-hmm. It was a big move, and I think that I had never opened a new school. I certainly had been involved in building renovations and building projects before, but I'd never opened a new school. And there were some growing pains in the first couple of years with that. It's things that you just didn't anticipate, some things that we thought we had thought about everything, but it takes a little bit of time. But certainly now I think we're just doing really, really well.
Things like electrical outlets. Oh, I thought that there were more.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, yeah, it's a nice building. The only time I've actually been in it was before they built the senior center, and they had voting over there because I vote in this area. Yeah. So, but that was very nice.
It is. It's beautiful.
Then, and it's interesting when you come off a high street and you come down the driveway. You can go to the left to the senior center, or you can go to the right to go to the school, the Bresnahan School. But you can't really park there because that's just the turnaround,
That's
right?
correct, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, there are a few parking spots there. But
I didn't know that.
Yeah, there are a few parking spots that are there. Some of them, because parking is always a problem around our schools, staff have identified parking spots. So the spots that are there are a couple for visitors, but most of them are already numbered, and staff have them.
Okay. Now, you talk about parking, and at the high school, the kids are allowed to park along the street?
Correct.
Okay. Can they park in the circle there?
They cannot, because those are all parking spots that are identified for staff members.
Okay.
So, and we barely have enough parking spots for staff members.
Oh, okay. Well, you'll have to build a second lot or a second tier. Now, and maybe I've lost track, but I thought that I saw something with the city council back in the summer. They're going to repave the parking lot over the Knockmolin School.
There is money that has been earmarked to do that was left over from the building project when we did the renovations at Knockmolin.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, there is a plan in place to go ahead and to pave the parking lot. It really has deteriorated quite badly. And there are a number of areas we actually had to do some patching before the school year started. So that's a project that has to occur in the summer.
Oh, okay. That's right, yeah, because, you have to make sure nobody's going to be there. Okay, well, that makes a lot of sense. And also, too, I guess they've taken care of all the roofing issues over in that area, the Knockmolin School?
Oh, yes. Since the renovations, we have been in very good shape over at Knockmolin.
Okay.
And we have a community group now that's been helping us to beautify the schools, to plant trees. So we're adding some really nice features. We've had a group of community volunteers led by Sue Brown who have just done amazing work at all of our buildings. So I'm so grateful for the work that they've done in terms of just weeding and gardens and planting of trees.
Now we're talking with Newburyport School Superintendent Susan Vicaro. Sliding back to the athletic side of things, the Fuller Field, is that a renovation all done?
I think that there's still a little bit of work that needs to be done there, but for the most part, yes. I mean, we have a beautiful new facility there. Certainly, the track was in desperate need of, we couldn't use it. So to have a brand new facility like that the community can use as well is just, it's remarkable. I had said to, I think Mayor Holliday, that I never thought in my career that I would put in more than one turf field and one track. And I came to Newburyport and I was able to repeat what I had done previously and put in a new turf field and a new track. So that's
turf at the high school. Is it grass over at Fuller Field or turf there?
It's grass.
Okay,
it's grass
over there.
Yeah.
But the track is something that now they can hold track meets
That's
there.
correct.
Okay.
That's correct. It's a beautiful facility.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll have to run a few laps, or maybe walk a few laps, or maybe go look. We can do that, certainly. Well, now you've talked before we went on the air. You talked about being in the business for a few years, and you came from Connecticut.
I did.
Okay.
I did. I was in Connecticut for quite a long time. This is actually my 39th year in education.
Oh.
My 14th year as a school superintendent, and my 5th year in Newburyport.
Oh, wow. Did you, coming from Connecticut, it's a small state, did you know Tom Fowler, Salisbury Police Chief? Because you're in the same state.
Well, I know him now.
Yeah, no, it's a long way. And did you start as a school teacher?
I did. I started out in Wolfboro, New Hampshire, actually. And I'm a North Shore girl, born and bred. I grew up in Essex and went to Fitchburg State and did a couple of years in New Hampshire, and then spent the next 30 years in Connecticut, and then came back home.
How about that?
So,
fried clams, Woodman's or the clam box?
Oh, Woodman's.
Okay. Just wanted to know. All right. Well, it's such a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you. This was great to be here, and I hope you'll invite me back.
Oh, you bet I will. Did we cover everything you wanted to talk about?
I think we did.
Okay. Well, terrific. And we will get you back and find out more about what's going on with the Newburyport school system. Lots of things going on. Of course, the 26th, that's going to be the rededication of the auditorium at the high school.
Correct.
So that'll be a lot of fun. And, of course, we'll tell you about things with the Newburyport Education Foundation, because that's the way, being a city department, you can't raise funds, but they can raise funds for you.
Yes, and they've been incredibly generous.
Yeah, so we want to tell you more about that, too. All right, well, Susan, thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll be seeing you around town.
Okay, great.
All right. Susan Vicaro, our guest, Newburyport School Superintendent, here on Joppa Radio, WJOP. And we have a guest with us this morning, Camille Garro. And Camille, welcome into Joppa Radio.
Well, thank you, Wynn, for giving me this opportunity.
Well, the reason we wanted to have you in, you stopped by the other day and you were telling us all about all the fun things. Actually, you danced your way into the studio.
Yes, I did, right from next door.
Yeah, and So you're a dancer, and the dancing has led you to some creative things with the Actors Studio at the Tannery.
Well, actually, when I moved to Newburyport 5 years ago, there was such a plethora of things to become involved with. So the first thing that I did was become exposed to all the theater and cultural activity that's here. So one of the main things that I fell in love with was the Actors Studio at the Tannery, the Actors Studio of Newburyport. And that led to getting involved with all kinds of other things at the Firehouse, at the Custom House, actually Maritime Museum. The Senior Center just opened last year, or 2 years ago, I believe now. And that offers a nice chance to get involved with other things, and one of them being my ballet tap class. So that's just continued to be a fabulous opportunity.
So are you more a ballet or are you more tap?
Tap, absolutely tap. And more of my personality.
Oh, okay. All right. So I guess I would never be a good tap dancer. I can't seem to move my feet like that.
Well, that's what the classes are for.
So
Nobody thinks they can.
Do you tap on the toes or you tap on the heel?
Oh, well, you'll have to have that argument with my teacher. We tend to never do that correctly.
Okay. Didn't the Mills Brothers, didn't they do a tap dance type of song? Or Sammy Davis Jr. did?
Oh, yes. There's a lot of, wonderful people from the past that I love watching their oldies. And
Fred Astaire?
Yes, yeah. It's a treat to watch those. And it has evolved into different kind of tapping right now, where I see the younger people doing a lot of tap on their toes, which is something we don't dare do, and I don't really love the aesthetic look of it. So I like the classic.
Okay. All right. Well, that's a good thing. Now, but there's something going on. There are some stories that you wanted to get into the Actors Studio from the dancing.
Well, it's just I find all these events and these opportunities to develop the arts interlock and inspire everything. And with the Actors Studio, we're able to develop these and all these ideas that we have, and it's the Actors Studio is open to everyone and anyone, and we are encouraged in a very non-threatening atmosphere to develop whatever we want to think is a good topic. We develop short stories, we can do co-reading classes, we can do all these kinds of things, which give you a platform to think about how other ways can be explored to talk about them. And when I got involved with this dance class, these are elderly women, myself included, that come twice a week to a 2-hour rigorous dance class taught by Jackie Casey, who is 82 years old and just puts us all to shame with the way she can move her body and just do all these impressive dance steps. And she is tireless and has taught us to be the same way. So we come week after week for 2 years now and do this solid 2-hour class, and it has impressed me. They all have their stories to tell and of what motivates them, what makes them keep coming back. And I'm so inspired by that, and it made me realize that was the platform that launched the genesis of an idea that I wanted to create for the Actors Studio in this coming March. Every March, the Actors Studio celebrates Women's History Month in some way.
Mm-hmm.
I went to the executive director, Mark Clopton, to give him the idea of calling it Women's Her Story Month. And so we are doing that, and we have a very exciting program for the full month of March. But the inspiration for that was I wanted some platform to give the stories of these women. Okay. And so that's going to be one little component that we are going to have the women, in my tap class come to the Actors Studio. We haven't decided if it's going to be the second or third week in March and perform. But we're also having, and your studio is going to help record them, all giving their little story ahead of time, and we'll put it up on a screen telling what makes them come every week and just what inspires them to do this. And then we will go into a performance on the stage at the Actors Studio.
So it'll be those like those little vignettes that they used to put on American Idol, where they follow somebody around and they tell the story, and then boom, there's the performance right there.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Because we're still developing how we're going to do this.
Yeah.
So.
And I like how the play on words, Women's History Month, Women's Her Story Month.
Absolutely.
I like that. Did you think of that yourself?
Well, I thought I did. And then when I looked into it, I realized other cities have done this in other states. But I don't know to what extent, but we are going to create it to be a full month of all different stories. And starting off, we're having it at some satellite locations in town, and starting off at the Custom House with the kickoff party, and then a concert reading of a performance that the Custom House, which is the Maritime Museum here in Newburyport, they found a woman's journal of Elizabeth Bray out to sea in the 1800s, and we are going to do little sections of that and perform it at their first Friday that they offer.
Okay.
And then we are continuing that. We'll have that again performed at the Actors Studio, and that will be the first weekend. But every weekend will be filled with different aspects of theater and creativity in her stories. A woman named Nancy Harrington won the prize for screenwriting film in Paris, and we are going to be showing her again another concert reading of one of her screenwriting film plays at the screening room.
Okay.
And then we are going to culminate it at the Actors Studio on the final Saturday with our typical Story Slam night, which the theme will be her story. So the whole month will be celebrating women.
Well, it's going to be a lot of fun. You'll have to stay in touch because that's stuff that we'll want to tell people about.
Yes.
And, of course, Mark Clopton does a great job with the Actors Studio.
He does.
You can learn how to act. You can learn how to, you can learn how to dance over here at the Senior Center, but he's got different things. You can learn how to sing over there. You can learn how to set up stage lighting and all that stuff. It's a nice little theater, 50 seats, so it's not too big.
And that is a good thing to mention because he is developing that opportunity more to have those kind of classes for the technical end as well as the acting end. We're trying to embrace everybody to be involved that has any inclination for any part of the theater world.
Yeah. Well, I've talked to some people who said when it comes to television, they said, it's great to be in front of the camera, but they've got 10 jobs behind the camera. So I'd rather be behind the camera than in front of the camera. But it's nice to be able to do both.
Yes.
Well, Camille, I want to thank you for joining us and telling us about that. So let's see, we are in the month of September, so that's 3, 4, you're 6 months away.
We started this last March, and we will continue every year to do this, and the planning will start that month for the next year. That's how long it will take to put together very exciting opportunities and embrace as many people in town as we can for the idea.
All right. Well, Camille, again, thank you so much. And we'll stay in touch. We'll tell folks all about it. In the meantime, you continue your tap dancing.
Thank you.
On the heels, not the toes, right?
It's both. But
okay. I still don't know how they do it. Even if you do
Come
it
to the class.
Even if you play back in slow motion, I don't know how they do that. But that's a lot of fun, and that's the tap dance over at the Senior Community Center in Newburyport. All right, well, Camille, thank you. Camille Garro,
yes,
our guest.
Thank you.
You're on Joppa Radio 96.3 FM.